make a motion
Good
to
morning.
adjourn.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
This is the March 4th, 2020 meeting of the Southampton Council on Aging, and we are being video and audio recorded. So welcome. Maybe just so everyone knows that watches from home, maybe we'll just, I'm Janet Kane, I'm the chair. We'll go around.
I'm Nancy Riccio, I'm the clerk.
Joan Linehan, COA Director.
Yvonne Batty Davis, member.
Catherine Lorigan, member.
Lori Loisel, Vice Chair.
Josie Alderman, treasurer.
Jim Palermo, member.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So the meeting's called to order at 9:30, open time from the public. We have no visitors from the public this morning. And we'll move to the minutes. Thank you, Jim, so we did our planning meeting and we're like, did anybody get the minutes from Nancy? Does anybody see Nancy's minutes? And somebody went, Jim did the minutes last time. So we found Jim's minutes, so good deal.
Good job.
So thank you. Yes, he did a nice
Yes.
job. So I found a couple quick corrections, Jim. Just a misspelled for Nancy's last name, not in the attendance, but in the first paragraph. Clerk Nancy Rescue.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
You're so close to Richard Resha, who's my good friend. And that's what I did. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I also,
That's missing?
some other
It
minutes I
was an
took.
E, I
Yeah.
just changed it.
And on the third page, under, I think the bullets that we have, there's Janet Kane exploring funding for pickleball training. I don't remember talking about training. I remember talking about court construction. But did we talk about training?
We talked about a demo, didn't we?
Okay, all right,
That was-
okay.
so
I don't know if
that
it
was-
was funding, but I wasn't
Oh,
exploring
right.
funding. I may
Right.
be exploring options for training, but we weren't exploring additional funding, I don't think.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe options for pickleball training or something.
Is it okay if I just update those, Jim?
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, anybody else have any other
Nope.
input, feedback? Do we have a motion?
A motion to accept as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And thank you, Jim, again for filling in.
Yes,
Nice
thank you very
job.
much.
Okay. Next, update from Friends. I know they don't meet till next week, right?
Oh, I really don't have an update because I know they have their luncheon is scheduled and that's all set for
Okay.
the 13th,
All right.
a week from Friday. But they're having their meeting tomorrow, so I can update you next.
Tomorrow or next
Next
Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Next
Oh,
Tuesday.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's Wednesday, next Tuesday.
What is the 11th maybe, or the 10th? The 10th.
The 10th.
Yeah.
So I can update you.
At the next meeting. You'll do a double up.
I'll do a
update.
double next week.
Actually, it'll be fine
No,
because ours is on the 1st possibly.
Oh,
so
yeah, so
You won't have another meeting before that.
Oh, okay.
So there was no Friends meeting last month?
No,
It
yes,
was in
just-
February, and we covered it in February, so now technically it would have been
The
yesterday.
day before ours, but with the election, they postponed it for a week.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
no place to have it.
But they're still looking for ways to spend their money, right? They're still looking for ways to spend their money.
No, are they? I'm sure they are.
I'm ready with a couple of motions, how to spend it.
Okay, good. Okay, director and volunteer reports.
Okay.
Did that go out and I missed it?
It went out on
This
Monday late. You didn't get it?
I got mine this
I
morning.
got mine.
You got yours?
I have
Phew.
mine.
At least I did it to the board, so here, I have copies.
Okay.
And you have flows as well? Do you get flows? Who do you get flows from? Do you get it from Nancy?
From you.
So should I be sending them? I think Lori used to send flows electronically. I don't know how that all
I
works.
can do that. I get them.
You do get them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Aren't they
Does
on the
anybody
back
ask
of
that
yours?
copy?
Anybody else?
They're on the back of mine.
Oh.
All right, well, that's how we usually get them.
All right, 'cause I don't,
I'll take one.
Send him a one,
I didn't get the back.
please. Thank you.
There it is. Yeah, I got it this morning too.
Yeah, I got yours this morning.
all right, I don't know why. Maybe
Okay.
I closed out before it was
Yeah,
sent, and
maybe,
when I
and then
opened it up,
yeah,
it sent.
maybe it went up then.
I
Yeah.
apologize.
Oh, sure.
It's at the last minute. It was a very late Monday because they were setting up for the
You were
poll.
busy.
And I got involved with that, and I got involved with the driver, and so I was here late.
Yeah.
And I realized on payroll that I didn't put in for the select board, so the meeting that I did, so I may
okay.
have to do that in the next payroll.
Just let them know that you skipped it
Yes.
or missed it.
Yes. So it's been an unusual month. As many of you know, our driver's out. We did get a new driver, Ken Cole. He's wonderful. And he's, learning the ropes, and he's doing a good job. I'm
And I saw him
excited that we
leave
have-
today as I was driving
Yes, he
in,
was off and
so.
away, and I think he's going to do just fine. As far as we know, our other driver will be out at least for another month until we can, he has 2 doctor's appointments he has to attend, so. The place itself has been busy. The Shine Counselor's been busy. She comes in the second Thursday of the month and has to use our office. It is inconvenient. Luckily, I had the newsletter done, but I did stay out of the office for the 2 hours that she was here. So that does interfere with my work when she's here. So we're doing the best we can. I know we talked about another space. I think the Veterans Office was questioned, but I don't think they're willing to give that up for a few hours a month. Plus, it's not convenient for the seniors. They come through, our door. They should be able to be met in our office. And Thursdays we're very loud. We have our pitch players, so it's very loud. So she really needs office space. So, she's coming again next week, and hopefully between the 2 of us we can share that space.
So the little storage room, it's just too crammed, right, to have her meeting there?
Especially now, if
Yeah.
you can't even get in it today because all the storage from the
the tables
voting,
and
the
things,
table and
yeah.
everything is in there.
Yeah, and
So,
it's not there's
it's
no
not
window,
really
it's not conducive
conducive. The select board is awfully open, the select board room is awfully open.
to, it's not very confidential.
Although they do hold like the reps meetings there, and that's confidential stuff at times. So that possibly an option, as long as we turn the heat on, because I know it's cold
Yeah,
in
if
the
you
winter
can
time.
reserve the room for the day she's here or whatever.
Yeah, maybe I'll try that.
Yeah, try that and see.
Because
So we don't have any big panels that can be used to
we have
separate?
the panels, but they don't separate the noise. The noise, we have the high ceilings, which is wonderful for singing groups, but not for conversation, because it carries. We
travels,
can
yeah.
only have one activity at a time, because the noise
Especially when
travels.
you're doing a confidential thing like Shine.
Interview,
Well, I
yeah.
was wondering about, they've got those machines, I'll call them, but that
White
that
noise.
make
White
noise,
Yeah.
yeah, white noise, that kind of mask the background noise.
I've
and
never
things like
used
that.
them. Has anybody ever used them?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Does it
For
work?
sleeping.
Yes. No, they work definitely. Yeah.
So
look
say we
into
put her
That'd be a lot
at,
cheaper than trying to
if we
find
put her
a-
at the
home.
computer desk, and then we put that noise machine next to her, then it should do that? I don't know how it works.
Yeah, you want
Usually
to,
I've seen them outside doors when we're inside
Yeah.
having meetings. So it's right outside the door. And you can't hear what's going on inside.
but it's
But there's
open
nothing up here
space,
for
open
office
space. I
space?
mean, this is the only open space here in this room, and again, it's the same thing if the seniors are going to travel
Yeah.
up here or not. But we can reserve this room, or we can try the select board room for now. And yeah, it's tough. We have the dividers, but it really doesn't keep things confidential.
Does that machine require installation or anything, or
No,
is it just
just
portable?
plug it in. You just plug it in.
But I'd be sleeping if I was meeting with Shine and my machine was on. I'd be like,
But you don't hear it because
Everybody has
it's
noise.
outside the space,
I mean,
you
it
know?
seems like
but
this
the
room would be
space-
a good room.
Are they expensive?
Yeah, I mean,
days
It's
it's
not,
not being
it's not
used.
convenient.
Cheaper than
I mean, unless
getting
I
the room.
started, right.
Yeah, there is an elevator.
But
They can
it's
come in
still,
there and do it.
you're working with people that, some are more disabled than others, some are not. I mean, I would rather relocate myself if that's possible, and maybe that's what I'll have to do. I'll have to get a PC, my own portable computer, which I have one at home. But I don't know, we'll talk about it.
Okay, yeah, I mean, just,
Some options. I
Definitely
would
a
try that
challenge.
noise machine. Do you know what it's called, actually? It's
White
just-
noise. You just-
White noise?
Just look up white noise, yeah.
Okay.
Probably can find it on Amazon.
It's only once a month.
wonder if the partitions can be used in the select board room so that it feels like a little bit of a smaller space.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good idea. They're on wheels, so we can,
The problem is they're very tall, and you have to get them out of the, you have to tip them to
To the
get them
door.
through the doorway. But it can be happening. There might be other partitions around that I'm not aware of. I don't know if they've ever used it in that room before.
and we did, go ahead, we'll finish this one. I'm kind of changing subjects,
Oh.
so we'll talk a little bit more about that, but we got to come up with something. Because, yeah, your newsletter, what week is she
It's
usually
always the
there?
second week that she's here. Maybe I could move her to the first week, so then
Yes,
it
so
wouldn't
that-
interfere with my, the newsletters always do
Yeah.
the second Thursday usually. And so I'm in depth in that, you
Yeah.
know, so.
So the newsletter is due on the 12th, right? Because
Correct.
you're leaving the 12th.
But
and you're gonna be
it's
gone.
always due by the 15th. The 15th is on a Sunday,
right.
so it will be, it will be
On
out
the 12th. So
on the 12th.
anybody have anything they want to add to the newsletter or items, or we might talk about adding something to the newsletter about our May annual meeting for the COA board.
I don't know, does anybody have any questions for me? We're trying to do a few more meals, and it's not really going over that big, which is fine. You know, we maybe have 6 to 12 people, which is fine. We are planning another tea in April, end of April. We
The
did go
murder
to-
mystery thing, is that coming?
The murder
up?
mystery is going to be in June 4th.
Okay.
I believe it's a Thursday. And, the plaque. We finally got a plaque. So we were hunting for the Volunteers of the Year, and Jennifer Peliquin said, well, there's a plaque. So we hunted, we found 3 plaques. One was 20 years old. They hadn't updated it in 20 years. The other one is about 13 years. They haven't updated it. So there was 5 spaces. We were able to put the 5 people that we wanted on the plaque. It's now hanging as you walk into the center. So we do have for, it was Teresa St. Martin and Vicky Zabawa, and there were 3 other people that we put on. But that plaque dates back 30 or 40 years from, and they called them the Southampton Autumn Agers. And
Oh,
even back
cute.
then, they didn't
Yeah.
want to be called seniors. That's
great.
Anyway, so that's completed.
And that's volunteer of the year, you said?
This is for deceased members,
Oh, deceased.
past members, who have contributed significantly to the Council on Aging.
Is Arlene on there?
Arlene Seeley I added. yeah.
And Rook.
And Rook Phillips I added, and there was one other, Keller, Rosemary, somebody. Anyway, these go back quite a few years, but the last 2 I knew, but I've heard of Arlene, she was put on.
Good.
And again, I just want to compliment you. I thought you did a nice job on presenting to the select board
Oh,
on your
Yeah.
annual quarterly report.
my annual quarterly report. I think annual is plenty. I don't think we need to make
Yeah.
it quarterly. And we don't change quite that much. I mean, and we do have our monthly newsletters and things, so things are, we've added quite a few programs, and I'm excited about. Not all of them have made it. Our Zumba Gold didn't cut the numbers. But our Tai Chi's doing wonderful. We have new people all the time. We had a mass mailing, as it says in the report, sent out 1,100 with the help of many people. Thank you. And we got 2 new people from that.
And we got a new person that came to watch pickleball on Sunday from the newsletter. She heard about it through the newsletter, so that's good. We had a packed house on Sunday.
Wonderful,
So,
wonderful.
3 courts going.
Oh, how
Balls all over the
exciting.
place.
Almost like Westfield when we went to visit Westfield, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to, unfortunately, we can't open it up
Right.
beyond the Council on Aging and friends that they bring, but because we are limited in space, but,
That's great. I hope
if we
to have
get
a free-
permanent courts, then people can use the permanent courts when we're not using them, which is the majority of the time they'd be available. So right now,
And it
there's
won't
no
be
other
long.
place for it.
2 months, you'll be outdoors.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, we're giving it a month and a half.
A month and a half, okay. And the early voting helped us a lot, too. We got like 6 new people from the early voting. They came to vote, and then they came to check out the center, which was really exciting. So any opportunities to have people coming through and saying, well, what's this all about? What are you all about? So there's a young man in the other day, he was not from town, but he's not young, he's a senior, a young senior. And he was really interested in support groups. And so I think we need to, kind of explore that. And we have a good space for support groups. I mean, except for the noise that travels, it's the only thing that you could do in that room at that time. But he said something about the challenges of aging. Everybody has similar challenges, and some have more than others. But I think it would be a great conversation and a great support for many of us.
When I was voting, there was a guy behind me, and he, first time in the center, I guess, and he was really enthusiastic about it. And so I think the more foot traffic we can get through there, it's to our advantage. Can I ask you a question? I noticed the MGM trip was canceled, and I'm curious, is that lack of interest or lack of driver?
That was lack of driver at
Okay.
that day. No, we're up to about 7 or 8 people that go monthly.
Great.
And that was a driver issue.
And we're looking at the signs to post, right? Like they had at the election last night, how the entrance and exit, so that if there's a Tai Chi class going on, please walk around or something so that people aren't cutting through the middle of Healthy Bones or Tai Chi or...
And I'm one that does do that. I try to be quiet.
I used to do it. I'm more
Yeah, but you're the
sensitive to
boss,
it now.
I know.
And if somebody
You
needs the
belong
restroom-
there.
Class, do not enter class in session or use
something.
alternate.
Yeah, I mean,
or
the whiteboards that they have, the little portable whiteboards that they used, make it easy to
Change.
as needed.
Yeah.
Somebody I used to work with started her own company because she started in her 70s of losing her hearing, and she realized it was more than just a physical event, that it came with a certain degree of irritability and distance from people socially and so forth. So she started her own group called Stamina, and a group of people get together on a monthly basis, and they just kind of prepare so that it doesn't become a negative thing, so that they're developing the muscle mass emotionally and physically to address the changes that come with aging, as opposed to fighting the changes that come and being disappointed all the time and angry. So if you ever are interested in having her come and speak,
I would.
we'll lead a support group. Let me know. I'll have to give you her contact
I
information.
would
I would
be
like to
interested.
hear her.
Yeah, because that was the comment, where you need to have somebody professional that
Yeah,
wouldn't
it's like,
would be
we
able to
love that
lead it.
support group.
Yeah, she's actually run support groups and has this group that meets in the Easthampton, one of the mill buildings, on Sunday afternoons once a month.
Wow.
It's called Stamina.
Yeah, I would definitely want the contact information. for
Okay,
that.
I'll send it to you.
Anything else for Johnny?
The Westhampton, I just wanted to say briefly, we went to a sleigh ride with Westhampton, and they had 4 inches of snow up in Chesterfield.
Really?
Yes, and it was one of the coldest days. I forgot about it. I wasn't dressed appropriately. Yvonne was there, and Roz was there, and we had blankets. Luckily, the basement has emergency blankets, and she had an extra Afghan. And anyway, it was a wonderful joint effort. I think, I know they want to see more collaboration and more, doing things with other centers or other groups. So I would be willing to do something with them, maybe in return have them come to our place. But we went to Westwoods. Is that the name of it? Westhampton Woods?
Yeah.
And it's quite a place. I'm glad we got to go. It's really out there, though. I mean, it's not close to anything. And one of the apartments is their community room. And it fit
It's
about...
close to Outlook. It is close to
Oh,
Outlook.
it is close to Outlook.
Yeah.
I
Well,
just
it's down
so turned
66,
around.
yeah, from-
I was so turned around because I had never been up in that area, and Yvonne was driving, and I felt like I was on top of the world. It was like, where am I? But there is life outside of Southampton. I thought we were urban, but no. Anyway, or rural. They had one of their apartments, there were about 20 of us.
Yeah.
And they had card tables and chairs, and they did, and we stole the idea. We had tomato soup and grilled cheese.
Yes.
And it was a lovely get
It was, and they
together.
were nice people,
Yeah.
really nice people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, again, we'd like to do more, and they only have a director who has 5 hours a week.
Right.
So I can't imagine, I'm complaining about my 26. Oh, and by the way, I did complete my certification and submitted it last week.
Congratulations.
I don't know if I'll hear in May or in October. They will probably do a presentation at one of the meetings. And it was over 60 pages of documentation and things that, make me who I am today. But I did find out that to be a national certified director, you have to work at least 30 hours a week. So that might influence me on trying to push for at least another 4 hours. If I can't get the full-time 32 or 34, whatever the other
31 or
department
whatever,
has,
I don't know what.
even 30 hours would be helpful.
Okay. Excellent. Well, that and the fact that it helps us to expand opportunities. Because right now, pickleball on Sunday is run by our volunteers,
And I'm finding that in more communities, that volunteers are running a lot of things that, that it's just the way it is.
And we did get a couple small grants from MCOA. Do you just want to
So
touch
there's a
base?
celebration, cultural celebration grant, and thank you. And originally, we were going to expand the Spanish. They had a taco luncheon and Spanish music that Tony put on with his group, and it was lovely, And so I thought, well, we could do that again, because there's Spanish 1 and Spanish 2. And then I thought to myself, it's $300, so we'll split the 300 3 ways. And we have an African art exhibit coming in April through Betty Schaefer, and Chris Fowles spent many years in Africa. So we're going to have an African Day in April. We'll have the Spanish Day, and we have a new couple from Colombia who were professors at Mount Holyoke. And so that'll be in May. And then I just asked Catherine before the meeting if we could do a Greek Day in June. So we'll have $100 for each
Are we making
culture.
heroes for the Greek Day?
Well, I hope so. I hope so. We'll do something for sure. We haven't. She's just been introduced to the idea, so I'm sure we can bring something by June. We can pull it all together.
Okay.
So the other one is Walk with Ease, which is a training. I also was Springfield College students, physical therapy students, contacted me about doing Walk with Ease here.
Oh, great.
So I'm going to follow up on that, but there is a training, and I'm not sure if myself, maybe Yvonne, I know you're very busy, but we'll find people that are interested in the walking area. It's funny because I brought my portfolio to MCOA, which is in the Eastworks building.
That's right.
And they said, "Did you walk with your group today?" I said, "No, I've been very busy trying to complete my portfolio, but I will. I have walked with them. It's a great space.
It is a good space.
You have to know where to park, though, because I parked on one end, and it's a long way to the other end.
That's right.
So
Yeah, you have to park on the Riff's end,
And walk down
and don't
through,
walk the
yeah.
4th floor.
And then stop at Riffs on your way out.
Oh, sure.
Sure.
But isn't it amazing that the two activities, the pickleball and the walking, have found alternatives to go inside, which I think is great, because then it doesn't have to end. You can just continue it.
Correct.
And then again, in another 6 weeks, we can bring it back outside.
Yeah.
And it's full back when there's rain.
Okay, great.
Excuse me, Janet.
Yes, Lori.
Can I backtrack for a minute? Do we have to do anything about the executive minutes?
We did not approve them, right?
You have to
Yeah.
approve an executive session.
Yeah, so we'll
With the
have to call
personnel
an
board,
executive session.
Thank you.
I never even published them.
Yeah, we won't submit
Yeah.
them, and they're just within here, and so,
But
yes, we'll do
I
that
didn't
in
even know if they
executive
would
session.
be distributed among us.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
fear that it could become, public, but until the issue becomes moot or resolved, and then it becomes.
Can I back up just a minute? Jim and I had worked on a job description. Originally, we had thought for either a backup or an expanded assistant. And then we decided we should be working on an outreach person, which we have not, and I hope to pick that up again in April, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
We'll meet again. But we did not get the second grant that we requested money for the outreach worker. But there is formula money. I mean, technically, we try to use the formula money. We had it on wages. I was able to get my wages in the wage line for the town. So we could get an outreach worker through the formula grant. And we can consider that maybe for July. So we may want to talk about, getting that in
Because
order.
There would be a posting
Sure.
and a PRF and a PCF.
I think you had said there were like 15 grants there were 15 applications and 4 were accepted.
Right.
Yeah.
It was disappointing
Very
that it wasn't,
competitive
but
grant, yeah.
that's all right. We'll keep trying.
That's a lot of grants submitted, 15 grants, so, and only
4 slots.
4, yes.
That was the one from Cooley Dickinson.
Right.
Cooley Dickinson. And what I do believe is that maybe we're asking for too much money. I don't know, $5,000 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're giving out money, maybe they're saying, well, let's give out 3 small grants and not give out the 5,000. So I'm not sure if that's true, but I really think, especially with the new census and everything, I think we should look at the formula grant for getting an outreach person. It's a needed position.
Can I ask you a question about the certification? Can you just repeat so that I can report on that, what the name of the certification is?
So it's Council on Aging Director certified. So it was a 14-month process, starting with a letter of intent from me and then a letter of support from the board. And it took in, financial, HR, anything that had to do with running a senior center. And I put in our newsletters, I put in pictures of our pickleball, and I talked about, the annual reports and my senior center and all kinds of different things. And when I get it back, I'll be glad to show you what I did.
Okay.
I have some copies of some of it, but it's a culmination of documents that support being a director and what makes a director a good director.
Is this state?
State, it's a state, it's the Mass Council on Aging.
Great. And everybody can just take a look at the volunteer report. We don't need to go through it line by line. Okay. All right, thanks, Joan. And to our next favorite report, the treasurer's report.
Actually, before we get into that, I have a technical question for you, Jim. Now, can I get onto the internal?
You should be able to.
And I've got this thing, and it looks like a little, like I connected, but then the personal hotspot is available. Do you want to join?
That's on your phone.
Huh?
That's on your phone.
But I don't want it on my
Hotspot is on your
phone. And so.
I'm connected to Sonic Wall 41cc. Is that the one?
Yeah. Almonds.
So,
That's it. So they should connect there.
and what did you connect? Click on
I
it.
clicked on the Wi-Fi and then went to Sonic Wall.
Oh, how was I supposed to know that?
I don't
Okay, all right,
Ask.
great.
That's how you know.
Thank you.
I asked at some point in time a few years ago.
Greenie, I forgot to.
I got it electronically.
I did.
Oh, okay, because I just sent it out.
to Greenie.
I didn't get one either.
You didn't? Are
Maybe
you
I
on
just
the
didn't.
board list?
Yeah, I think you are. I thought he wasn't, but he is, so
Yeah,
Okay, well, here.
he's just trying to confuse
thank you.
Do you have one for
And-
yourself? Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So I think the big new thing is that with our driver who's out on short-term disability, those hours, the short-term disability is now coming out of town wages as opposed to FRITA. And so in that area, it's just the short-term disability amount and not any additive for benefits and administration. But our backup driver, of course, is coming out of FRITA, but that, because he's part-time, that additional amount.
The overhead is less,
Yeah, the
right?
overhead for administration of benefits is 9.5% as opposed to 11.5%, which we had been doing for the.
The benefited.
Yeah.
Yeah, the difference between benefited and non-benefited,
Right.
yeah.
So
it is-
everything else, I think, is.
Our biggest challenge, I think, moving forward between now and the end of the year is how do we support that additional cost, and we should probably sit with Ed and Vicki and make sure everybody agrees, because we don't, it could be close to, between now and the end of the year, if it happened to extend that long, $5,000 more. So
Right.
it's not cash we have laying around someplace.
Right, and last year, when there was a disability issue, that was just coming out of the town.
Well, they put
It
it
was
on
a separate account.
the article on the warrant at the town meeting to help pay for that. So
And
we
did
just
we
have
get
to.
funded then for that?
Yes, so
Oh.
that
Okay.
lump sum of 2,500 didn't cover everything, but it covered part of it. So it covered the bulk of it. So it didn't prevent us from doing what we need to do to keep the center
Right.
active. So we just have to talk to Ed and see what he recommends going forward, if he wants to do another warrant, if we just have to figure out how to get it out of between the state formula grant and our town wages, because we can take it from the state formula grant. It just prevents us from doing other things.
Other
really
programs,
important.
and we had that discussion at our planning meeting, and, you know, Friends has been very generous, so if we can't do the programs, maybe we can ask for funding for the programs through Friends. So we're going to have to do some balancing and juggling.
And I know that the whole topic's been discussed at the select board meeting,
So
so.
looking at the advantages of hiring a private company to do disability as opposed to self-insuring, so that there's some predictability.
I think
Sounds
that's
familiar.
a very good idea.
I
Yes,
think
yes.
the three of us were on the PPPB a few
Right.
years ago when we did that, right?
We
Trying to do
urged
that.
it, yeah.
But, okay.
Work slowly around.
New board. So anyway, yeah, so that's just, I think, like you're saying, our biggest challenge
Right.
between now and the end of the year is keeping that budget, staying, not going over budget, and figuring out how to best pull it from. We did put money in for a driver into the state formula grant above $1,000, so we may have spent some of that for Ken before he got fully on board with Frida. So we'll just have to figure out how much is left in that $1,000. Then pay Ken out of Frida now. And then figure out, with Ed, because we can just advise him, which we're always happy to do. So, on how to move forward.
So I have a question in that, of course, that report that comes from Frida, you have a fuller font, which you can't read, and it's about this long.
Yeah, Ed was able to print it, and I did say at the other meeting I would get to it. I was off yesterday, so I didn't get to it, but I will forward you a copy.
Because it looks, from their report, it looks like we are under budget.
True.
And my concern is if we came under budget on them, does that impact
The grant.
our grant for next year?
Yeah. But it absolutely could. I mean, I know that some of the key, from what Jonas told me, some of the people that had utilized the van frequently either have passed or moved to homes or, are not accessing. But it sounds like the activity is picking up now.
Yeah, the winter months
Are
tend to be a
slow,
little
so-
slower too.
We may be okay, and we may use, we'll be using that for Ken right now too, so.
Right, right.
So we'll keep track on that. Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it works if you come under budget. I know they don't want you to go over budget.
Right, right.
So we'll have.
Hopefully they average it out for the last 3 years because we were over 1 year, and we try to break about even, but it's difficult to do because you
Right.
can only, foresee
Yeah.
so much of requests.
So that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, the state formula grant looks like we have a lot of money remaining, but that could be chewed up. And we have the volunteer luncheon coming up.
Recognition,
We have
which is $1,000.
some of the evening events coming up, and so it always seems to go fast the last 4 months of the year. So. Do we have a motion for the treasurer's report?
I move to accept.
Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josie.
You are welcome.
Okay, new and old business. So just, I want to give everybody kind of an update for Celebrate Southampton, and Joan can add to that too. I've gone to the evening meetings. It looks like we may do our, Go for Life Fun Walk to kind of kick off Celebrate Southampton. So we're working to kind of whether we do it at 9 or we do it at 11, or if we start at the church or we start at the Clark House, do we end at the library? So we're all working out the kind of the details of that. So, but it looks like we may have it in August. So it's the 14th and 15th to celebrate Southampton.
So the
And
walk would be the 14th.
pardon me?
Walk
The walk
would
would
be
be
the
Saturday, the
15th.
15th. The evening is at Conant Park, I think, with music the night before. And I do believe the COA and the Friends of the COA will get a booth, so we have to submit a form for that to have, like, to help advertise our programs. And so we'll have a booth at the event on Saturday, and I'm also going to try to reach out to one of our pickleball experts and see if they can do a pickleball clinic sometime during that day as well. So get all the population involved. So
I like the idea of ending at the library. It brings you right to the park. Of course,
Right.
all our vehicles are over here, so.
yeah. Oh, you park at the park and you walk over here,
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah.
complete the walk. So you end up getting your full loop in that
There
way.
you go.
But so we'll, yeah, it might be easy to do that, but if it's too early, they're still setting up at like 11 o'clock, so you don't want to end over there at 10, and then,
True.
they're not ready for us.
And then
So
they have that memory thing.
there's a memory thing, there's going to be a tour
Yeah.
of the church, but it might be Friday night instead of Saturday.
Now, last year was after the memory hour that we did the walk.
There was a parade.
The
It was the
parade.
tractor parade
Yes.
that you drove a tractor in, and so did.
Are we going to have another tractor parade?
I don't know, but they might, but
They
I
may
think it's
combine the
agricultural.
two, because, that's no longer agricultural, it's arts and crafts. This year is the theme, so,
Okay.
You have
I'm
to
not
paint
sure.
your tractor.
flower-
Design like the Partridge
flower
Family
child,
bus, the big flowers.
Is Doric crushed?
So I don't know what they're gonna do parade-wise, or maybe combine the two, because I guess they had a parade and nobody came, kind of.
Oh,
sort of.
It rained.
Well,
It
yeah, it
poured.
rained.
Yeah.
As soon as we were taking off, it rained.
So it
And, but
wasn't.
the Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, the Scouts, they led the parade, and then we followed. It was like,
But there was like not a lot of people along the side to watch.
Well, many of the
You know, 'cause it was-
participants are already
Yeah.
going to the park.
Yeah, so they're trying to
There
figure out
were a
how to
few.
do that so that it's,
but not many. And then the rain really put a damper on it.
There were
Yes.
some family members.
so to speak.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a very large parade if you think from here to the library. Or,
Yeah,
So we'll.
but it was our first, you know, so,
I think it was nice.
yeah.
Good. So we'll keep you updated on that. Senior survey went out.
Yes, I haven't
Please make sure.
received.
Do you have a
many-
box or something to put
Yes.
them in? Okay, because I meant to bring
Of
mine
course, I
this morning.
forgot
I
mine.
forgot,
Yes,
yes,
this morning,
okay.
too.
We're
That's
guilty as charged.
And, yeah, and we can critique it as well. I think we already had a question about having more opportunities for men, and some of us want to sign up for that because we want to be hanging out with you guys, because you're so much fun.
You have to tell Anita that.
But
She'd have to
anyway,
sign up too.
we'll see how that all works, and hopefully we'll get some good feedback. Some of the extra comments are really what we had gotten the last time, and I think we need to look back to what we had gotten 2 years ago about, acupuncture and massage and things that, we haven't tried yet that might bring other people in. I don't know.
Get a manicure, pedicure monthly or something. Of course, that takes a lot of different equipment that we don't necessarily have, so. So we'll keep collecting the surveys and try to help push that. at
Hopefully by
the
next month,
luncheon.
we'll have an idea of what people are interested in.
So if you haven't filled it out, like me, please do so. Get it in. And on the survey is a question about the renaming of the senior center. So if people take the time to submit that, we'll see what we come back with.
Yeah, if and when we rename the center, I'd like to do a brochure like Easthampton has. Of course, the Easthampton Enrichment, E&E, I suppose that's how they got the Enrichment Center. They have a nice brochure, and it just lists all of the basic services of the center. It's a marketing tool. So.
I don't think I've seen that.
I may have one in my car that I was going to add to my car. I think I put it as a possibility for a marketing thing in the near future.
Next is just a quick update on the FY21 budget. I think we continue to be encouraged based on, and I know Nancy referred to this a few meetings ago, why don't we try to pay Joan more per hour? So if we can, when you meet with Ed on the budget, we could only encourage you to try to at least get, the report that was done, I think you were, the minimum, you were below the minimum. So if we were looking at like $23 to get to the minimum recommendation by the gentleman that did the consultation for us before, that you sounded like you were going to say something.
The Personnel Board is making a proposal for wage adjustments, and you might want to just refer to that. Art sent me a copy of it. I can forward it to you.
I think that was what he presented to the select board.
Yeah,
this a
that's
new
the
one?
same, no, it's the same.
Yeah,
one.
that's the one we discussed, I think, at the last meeting. So if you look at
Yeah.
your minimum, your midpoint is like your 35%
You want
lower than midpoint of your job.
The benchmark,
the
yeah.
benchmark, so.
And then she also should count the directorship,
Yes.
you know, the
Right, the new,
formal
even though we
certification.
haven't quite
Right.
gotten the results, but you have certainly done the work to do that. So,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, right now, the scan in grade level 5, you have the honor of being the lowest grade 5 person in town.
I saw the report.
And, and so there's like a $9 span per hour for those grade levels. So based on your years of experience, your seasoning, you know,
And
I
your
think-
certification.
And your
Yeah.
certification
Yeah.
now, I think it doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
And I know that I've heard those comments from many people, and
Right.
if you don't ask. So I guess when you meet, I mean, we had to submit it back in January, so we didn't really incorporate it into an original submission, but when you sit to go over the budget with Ed, you know, we should come up with a reasonable number that.
And I'll look to you for an advisory level of what that should be.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do you have an appointment already?
I do not have an appointment.
I would second what you just said. Go in there with a number. I have the support of the board, and this is what I'm requesting for my salary or rate.
You have to ask, I understand.
And don't be unapologetic. Don't be apologetic.
Apologetic.
Don't be apologetic.
No.
This is what, yes, what it normally pays for that. I mean, it was hard when we hired, we were replacing people without the same level of qualifications that were brought to the job, and there were 2 people, and they were terrific people, but they didn't come as a full-time director to do what you're doing. So, you know, we were kind of strapped at that point in time, but it's, you know, we've worked hard to get you up to 26 hours. We need to get you to the 30 hours, keep the center open the same hours as town hall, and get you a fair living wage, so.
That, you know, her working 30 hours just makes common sense.
It does,
People, seniors
absolutely.
come, new seniors, they know town hall is open till 4, so they assume, first mistake, they're assuming that the center is open. And it should be. We are connected to town hall. We should be the same hours.
Okay.
I agree.
So, I mean, the number we submitted, we'll want to modify that number when you go in to meet with Ed.
Okay.
Okay?
We'll-
So
we should do
can
that
talk
in the
more. I
next
can get the survey
few weeks.
recommendations, you know, so.
So it's not just increasing your hours to get you more money, it's that plus.
Plus the hourly
Right,
wage.
provide a
Right.
service.
Right.
Because you're
We're in
outside, you're
department.
outside of the, you're lower than the range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have that money tree out back that we're going to try to pick some money
Right.
off of. so.
Right, I know. Southampton is,
As the little
But we'll
kids
keep
would
track.
say, just go to that machine.
Would our membership cards work in the
well, in the long run, it does, because all those reports go to the state.
Oh, I see.
So the other thing is, again, our annual board meeting is in May. We will have hopefully appointment of new board members, announcement of any resignation of current board members. That would go to the end of June. not getting out in May. But as you know, we, as board members, we need to go out and talk to people about it, because, I mean, I think maybe you and I fell into this, and we pulled Josie a little bit along and Kay along, and you talked to Yvonne about it, and I tackled Nancy after one meeting, and so it takes, you know, it takes some discussion, and it's a really important board in town, and...
I know you didn't take any credit for me.
Oh, well, yeah.
Or blame.
Oh, sorry. Yes. So, yes, I did reach out to Jim. Sorry, Jim, you're too close to me. I looked right past you. I'm sorry. I said to Jim...
Are we going to have openings?
I do believe
There's good
Josie
possibility.
has talked about stepping down as treasurer, and...
In May? That would be...
Well, it'd be end of the year, I think, because the fiscal, you know, it's to the end of June, I think, her term is, so...
End of June.
Yes, and I did recruit Jim as well, so I didn't want to take credit for recruiting
Or blame.
2 people. Yes.
I think
So-
that you work better on one-to-one. We find that with anything,
Yeah.
you know. if you
I
just
mean,
say-
we keep announcing it, and Ed has added it to his agenda, his town administrator report, that we're looking for members and alternates. And, I mean, it was great to have the alternate program, because that got Yvonne and Nancy engaged and helped them to determine if it's something they would commit for a longer term. So we should continue to look for alternates as well. They can participate, they just can't vote unless we don't have a quorum. So, but their input is extremely welcome. So if you know anybody, think about having some one-on-one discussions. Jim, if you know anybody, that's part of your job, that was your commitment, you would bring in another board member.
Oh, did I?
You forgot that part of the conversation? No.
I forget, yeah.
And even, you know, I mean, if we decide at our meeting also to change the time of our meetings, maybe we'd have them at 4 or 4:30 in the afternoon, makes it easier for folks that work to come at that hour than to give up their whole morning. And there's no reason that I know of, and maybe you can share with me if there is concern that why we have to have it in the morning.
If I'm
versus late.
attending, I may have to get paid those hours,
Well,
that's all.
Well, you'd have to get
We
paid
have
those
money in the
hours.
budget for that.
Yeah.
That's why we have the state formula grant, and that's why we're increasing your hours as well, so.
Are you saying we're going to talk about that at the annual meeting?
Yeah, I think we should
It should
think
start
about it
fresh,
and
yeah,
talk
we should
about
July.
it, you know. So, yeah, it would be effective then, and it's probably a good time to talk about it. So
And-
think about what you think is realistic and bring your input. And we, you know, I miss Liz, and I see her at the town meeting, and I say, Liz, we're going to change the time so you can come back, you know. So,
And
Yeah.
just give it some thought, because I think it would be a good idea if, hopefully, we can find someone who's willing to step up to the treasurer position. I'm certainly willing to go through the end of the year, and I think that would be appropriate to, you know, get that final treasurer's report done, but it would be nice to be able to train somebody at that point,
yeah.
or before, but...
Yep. Or throughout, an overlap, or they
Yeah.
can start as an alternate for the rest of this year and then follow.
Because frankly, to come in blind, as several of us know what it's like, is difficult, but I think it's been pretty well refined.
Yes, I
And-
think you've done a great job setting up a good template, and, you know, the amount of time that you put in is pretty amazing.
Well, it's getting better, actually, so. you
Well,
know.
now that it's so easy, maybe you
Yeah,
should just...
it's a piece of
It
cake.
just got
Yeah,
to
as
that.
long as I have the reports, easy peasy.
So the 4
Yeah, yeah.
o'clock time would open it up for business people as well. I'm not sure what the percentage of over 60 have to be on the council on
Over,
aging.
I think it's over 50, and it has to, 50% over, 51% over, I think, 60, so...
So we got
We
that
at least
covered.
have to
Just
have
need
four members, you know, over 60, so.
But, you know, I know like the credit union.
We need more on
They
it.
have shown some interest, would they have somebody that lives in town that would be interested, or somebody from the banking industry that would be interested in being on the board? I know it's, probably don't need that for the accounting, but, you know.
Well, one thing, and I made this mistake in talking to somebody, you know, because I happened to mention that, oh, the treasurer's position's open. That's not the good way to approach someone. And our bylaws say that you should be
at least a
in the
year.
board
Oh, that's
for
right.
a year before taking a leadership role.
Oh, we do
So-
know exceptions are made.
In mass, yes.
So it would, I mean, this is our pool of people who would be acceptable, I suppose, or
Qualified for the
Qualified for the
treasurer's position.
so, shall we draw straws? But I was certainly,
Nobody's jumping up.
be willing
Nancy's like, phew,
to,
I'm glad I'm clerk.
certainly willing to train. And once you know, if you have
Get to
any
be comfortable with
familiarity
Excel,
with
yeah.
Excel or spreadsheets, and frankly, the way it's set up, it's not even that hard to learn. You're not going to be doing the real in-depth stuff that Excel can do, but it's a great program.
It's checks and balances, pretty much, because you have to make sure the information is given to you to put it in the report.
Yeah.
So,
And then once you get that, it's just making sure you look at the right account number, that sort of thing. But, so I don't plan to leave you high and dry.
No, and we appreciate that very much. And what the time that you put in to make it so seamless. Appears to us to be seamless.
I like that.
Also at the annual meeting, I tried Highland Valley this morning before I came, but they don't open till 9, so I'll try them again to speak to Alan to find out when the election to the board members are, and that maybe at our annual meeting, we'd want to select somebody to be a board member, because I believe that current board member term is ending. So I don't know if it's fiscal, if it's, calendar, federal.
they may have a different fiscal, it may be federal,
Maybe more federal, so.
which is
but-
what, September or
Yeah, and
October?
October 1st. So,
October 1st.
So I'll get the answer to that by our next meeting, so we can see that. Okay, I gotta change that from associates to alternate, sorry. And we already kind of talked about that. And again, anything else you can think of that we need for the center that we can use? I mean, I like the signs. We talked about mirrors. I'm not sure if that's going over, but it would make things like Tai Chi much easier to see yourself from my perspective and see how silly I look when I know how I feel, but I'm not sure I'm looking as good as I think I am, so maybe we shouldn't get mirrors.
Well, we could all volunteer just to come and watch you.
You could do that or participate. But it's just something we touch base on. I don't know if it's practical or not, so. Anything else from anybody else that you're thinking that, and the signs that we talked about, so like, and maybe if it says, please stop, please don't forget to sign in, so we get as many accurate numbers as we can, and just, I like the whiteboard ones, that's just my opinion, because you can erase them and change them. Yes?
I think having an amplifier would be a really good thing to have. They have portable, like paper covers to them. If anybody's like filling out an application, or if you're having any conversation with somebody who has a hearing problem, it just makes a huge difference to have an amplifier. So I think that would be a really good thing for the center to own.
Okay.
And I think the white noise box
Yeah.
would be a good thing.
And I know if there are things that, because of our tightness in our short-term disability, if I know that Friends is looking for, they are looking for.
Items, yes.
Yeah.
And the amplifiers, I know they don't have Radio Shack anymore, Best
No,
Buy
I
or
bought them
online,
on Amazon.
Amazon.
And then they have paper covers.
Don't
So
die.
so they
I
can
hate
be,
Amazon.
multiple people can use them.
And that white noise box, that would be good for us when we're doing our planning meetings, because then we could meet
In the main hall, yeah.
Yeah. And just not have the whole world listening in like that one time.
And it was a challenge the other day, she was moving furniture. You can imagine moving more furniture into the office. and adding 4 bodies to it.
Because they were starting to set up for the election, so it was perfect. Yeah. So. All right, and again, great. We are still advertising for backup van drivers because we only have one van, so one person can only drive at a time. So if, God forbid, Ken and Richard are both out at the same time, we have a third person. So I know we're always looking for backup and forward driving van drivers. So, right? You said
Yes,
you might have somebody.
Yes,
so.
he did.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Good.
It's not in yet, but he got the paperwork.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exciting. I mean, we were desperate for a backup, and now we have 2 possibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. So, what do you have there?
Oh, I just wanted to bring up, tomorrow they're having a coronavirus meeting, but it's only for staff at this point. The emergency management, Charlie, and the health department, Jerry, are having a meeting at the police station. And then we'll bring it back to the boards, et cetera, what plans they have for, we added 2 hand sanitizers, mounted ones on the wall, which was during flu season. But anyway, I'm sure there'll be an action plan put into place, as you know, all over the country, and depending on where you're at, they're limiting the groups and et cetera, and telling people not to shake hands or hug anymore. So, I don't know, we'll have to see. See where it goes from here.
Yesterday, I actually went looking for hand sanitizer and couldn't find any.
Yeah.
I
At
mean,
any
some
store,
extra
right?
in any store.
Yeah, well, mainly I was looking at Walmart. I figured they'd have it, but
Yeah.
the shelves were bare.
It's a combination of alcohol and something else, so you could make your own, I suppose. I'm not sure. I mean, alcohol's pretty harsh on your hands,
Yeah.
but
Right.
I've never heard of anybody making their own, but
Yeah.
usually, like, it's all over the place where I am, so.
yeah. But I know
Never
that
really
they've
had
been
to.
talking about that it's off the shelves,
And I looked for it on Amazon, and you could get large amounts, like a box, but they were like $75 or some ridiculous amount of money.
I have an extra little, if you have a container, I have an extra little container that used to be on the wall. We could spare it out. We could have like a line. We'll portion it out to you.
That might be something to consider, buying a box and at the luncheon, hand out a bottle of hand sanitizer to everyone.
I don't think you'd want to buy it right now
Well, we have,
at all.
we have to
It is
get,
very
if we have the plastic containers, if I can get the empty containers, I probably can portion it out. It's a container like this that used to be in our old one that we can no longer use because we changed the
The delivery
system.
system thing.
As much as I hate Amazon and really object to our using them, they are throwing people off Amazon who are gouging, which is a good thing that they're
Right.
doing. Yeah, so,
Oh, good.
so it's good.
Just wash your hands.
Yeah, just wash your hands is the
Soap and
best
water,
thing to
right.
do. Yeah, even with sanitizer.
And they say that actually soap and water is better than...
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
the hand.
But there's sometimes you just cannot just wash your
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
like you walk into vote yesterday, and who else used the pencil before me, and it's just.
Yeah.
Well, I love to follow you.
Yeah.
And actually, Jim, I go back to, Jim will, if he decides to continue with us, because your term does expire at the end of this year.
Right.
So we'll be,
Oh.
he'll be running as well.
He
He
has-
was filling in the term for
Right,
Liz.
so he'll have to fill out another application.
Or we can vote as I don't know if he needs to, I guess you may have to apply, put another
I mean,
application.
yeah, it's just an appointed form.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So, and as long as we decide to recommend him, he's still under scrutiny.
Is there anybody
I'd
else
vote for
whose
you.
term is going to be up?
I
You'll
don't
be
think
gone.
anybody else's
No,
term,
next year.
Josie's term is up.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
so
but
I
she's staying,
think,
huh?
You sent something out.
I'm 21.
Said everybody.
Did I?
Yeah.
I probably got it
Should
from
be.
Lucy.
I was
Yeah, it's probably
surprised
on the
we were the
website.
longest.
What?
Lori and, yeah, you guys just
Yeah,
got
too long.
elected. Yeah. And Yvonne too, I think you were at the same time. You should be at the
I
same
think it
time.
was.
You shouldn't be going, yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, we'll
Are
check
they
that out. It should be on the website.
3-year terms?
Yeah, 3
Yeah,
years.
they should be staggered, though.
Catherine, you're going on, what, your second year?
I think I'm the same as you. Remember we?
Yeah, we had to go run again because we filled in a
Right.
spot, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think all of us came in on fill-ins, because I came in filling in Teresa St. Martin.
Okay, because I'm wondering if
Leave it
when
that one and then I'm
they
in for
filled
another
us in,
three.
if they staggered our terms or not, because,
Right here, term expires Josie 2020, Yvonne 21, Janet 21, Lori 22,
Oh, 22.
Catherine 21, Jim 20, I'm 22.
Wow, an awful lot.
I thought it was up
21 is
next
going to be
year.
a tough year.
yeah, I think that
It's okay.
surprises me. I think
We'll
they
bring you
didn't-
along. It'll be gone
I
before you
should've
know it.
staggered. Okay, good, I was just heading there, thank you. All right, anything else that can't wait till the next meeting that you want to talk about? And again, so we're going to get something in the newsletter for Celebrate Southampton. I told them they need to be in
Oh, good.
by like June 11th
Oh, good.
to you,
Right.
so for the July, August,
Great.
to talk about that.
The director will be away for 4 days, and the assistant and the volunteer coordinator will be in charge.
So when are you going?
Janet. I'll be out, let's see, the 16th through the 20th, or whatever that is.
And where are you going?
Georgia, to the Atlanta Speedway. In an RV. We're going to be in the midfield with
Well, just don't
earphones.
bring
That should
back
be
any coronavirus. That's
In
the only-
Georgia? I don't know.
I don't think
We're
they've
going to be in
been-
our RV, so we're not, you know.
Yeah, that's better than
Yeah.
circulating air somewhere,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
All right, so that's good to know. And do you know who's doing, can you just let us know what the schedule's going to be?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just you
I'm
send
pretty
an
sure
email to us.
each woman is going to do their day, so Flo will work Monday, Thursday, and Darlene will work Tuesday, Wednesday. There might be a controversy about Thursday, but Darlene said she'd fill in.
Okay, all right, good, which is great.
Have fun. Should be
Thanks.
fun. Yeah.
Looking forward to it. I don't think I've had a week off in a while, so
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
Every week's a week off.
Well, it's those weekends, those nice weekends. I'm
Those
not
long
complaining about
weekends.
those, yeah.
Yeah.
Mondays.
Especially when you
holidays.
add a Monday holiday then.
So April's meeting, April 1st, is everybody okay? Is that? give
So
us enough?
April, not March. I see March on mine.
Oh,
Is
this
this-
isn't updated. I changed it a couple days ago, so.
Is April 1st a tough day for you?
It's just funny.
Because it's
just a
April
funny
Fool's Day?
Right, so anything we say that day.
Okay.
So, okay, so it's
April
still
1st is
April
good?
1st yet.
We just have to remember to meet and plan early. It's like in 2 weeks. No.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and just
Is it-
reminder that the center will be closed the day before that, because that's the second election, the
March
special
31st.
election.
Oh.
The special election, yes.
Okay.
As long as we
Today.
meet
So
on
encourage
Monday.
everybody to get out and vote on March 31st.
Correct.
First state senate, second Hampden, Hampshire district. Okay?
When that happens, you don't have to, you don't have to just be off the day, right, Joan?
I took the day, yeah, we take the day off and we don't get paid for it, because technically we could work in the office.
Okay.
But I choose not to, because it really, you know,
You're kinda
it
trapped
limits
in
us.
there.
You kind of
Yeah.
feel, trapped is the right word.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just curious if it was voluntary.
It's voluntary.
Mhm.
Like Darlene's gonna work an extra hour today because she lost her pay from yesterday. But,
I mean, it's
yeah,
chaotic
it is what
down
it
there
is.
now.
Yeah, it helps the budget, I guess.
One of these is for Jim for the
Have a
last.
motion to adjourn?
Did you sign already?
Motion.
Second motion.
Second, all in favor?
Yep.
Aye.
For me?
What time is it?
Okay, I'm
I
gonna,
signed
35?
for,
34.
oh, I already signed for
34.
all.
Returning
I'm
staff.
gonna turn us off.